All right, guys. Now let's move to the first type of visualization, which is relationships. So I'll start with relationship. And when I mention relationships, I'm talking about a relationship between numerical variables, right? As you know, there are two kinds of variable. One is on a broader level, of course. There is let's call it textual variable, text level data, and then there is data on numeric level. So here I'm just talking about numbers, something like sales, profit, discount, price, cost. All these are, or there are many more examples, right? Number of cars owned, number of children. Then we have number of houses. All these are wherever there's a number involved, it's a numeric variable. So when I'm talking about relationship, I'm talking about comparing two numeric variables. That is, what happens if one increases, what happens to the other one? Does it increase along with the first variable, or does it decrease, or there is no effect at all? For example, does sales increase with discount? Does sales and discount follow some kind of positive pattern? For example, if I increase the discount, will it increase in the increase in sales, or is it it won't happen? I mean, it won't lay any effect on sales, right? So these are two numeric variables over here. Now, if I look at the relationships can be basically of something like we are talking about two variables, right? This is what we have seen in the diagram, right? Two variables. This is a classical example of two variables. Now, let's say I want to go for the third variable as well. For example, I want to see sales with profit. And what is the relation between sales and profit, let's say. And I want to see the impact of discount on it. So this is the case of three variables. Right. So how can we look at the relation between two numeric variables? When there are two numeric variables, two variables, and three numeric variables, there are three variables. Either ways, I use something called as scatter plot. This is the best graph to visualize the relation between two continuous numeric variables. Continuous means sales, profit, discount is nothing but continuous, right? Or probably discount is not continuous, because I cannot say 15.7, 15.6. We generally offer discount on an integral level, 15%, then 16%, and so on like that, right? Price can also be integral. Price can also be continuous. Cost can also be continuous. But number of quantities sold, it won't be continuous, isn't it? Because the quantity cannot be 2.2 or 2.3 or 2.4. It'll be 2, then 3, then 4, right? So there are certain integral values attached to it. So quantity being a numeric variable, still we can say that quantity is not our continuous variable. It's categorical variable. Okay. Now what we'll do is we'll see what scatter plot can do when we talk about relationship between two numeric variables. Let's see it in Tableau. All right, so here we are on the data set, and I think we have created a few hierarchies over here. There's a location hierarchy, won't need it now, but just giving you guys a reminder over here. Product hierarchy and so on like this. So let's see, profit and sales. Let me click these two, profit and sales, and ask show me. Show me automatically says that go for this scatter plot. I draw the scatter plot, and once I draw the scatter plot, there's only 1 point over here because it's giving me the cumulative or other cumulative effects of profit and loss. Let me move on to the entire view first. Okay, that is giving me sales of sum as compared to sales of profit. What I need to do is to click on this drop down and click on dimension, which means that don't aggregate it. Just give all the values over here. So once I click on dimension, it appears to be something like this. Don't be worried. I'll have to do the same thing with profit. So I'll just click on dimensions over here as well. Now I'm seeing something called a scatter plot. So every scatter plot over here is having a certain point. As you can see, every point over here. For example, if I just move on to data source, or I think the data source is, I'll just show you the data source over here. Now, what you're seeing on your screen in Tableau, this one, is nothing but each and every point being plotted over here. Which point? So can we see that every row over here is a transaction. Every row will have a sales and will have a profit. We'll have a sales, we'll have a profit. We'll have a sales and a profit. And something like this, if you talk about it, around close to 9,995, which is close to 10,000 rows are there. So all these 10,000 points are plotted for every sales, considering sales as X variable and profit as Y variable. Every point is plotted over here if you are aware of the coordinate geometry. Now that way it comes out to be a scatter plot. Every point, all the 10,000 points are seen over here. It's just that few of the points are very, very overlapping. So hence we can see an area kind of stuff. But in reality, they're nothing but points which are stacked very closely together. Okay. Now, this is the scatter plot. And if I can see that as I increase the sales, the profit keeps on increasing, which is very fine with me, which makes perfect sense, because if I increase the sales, the rule of massification comes into picture, and I can say that, okay, yes, the profits are supposed to increase. Now, if I want to confirm that, I can actually go to analytics and use the trend line. Don't worry, we'll study about trend line in detail later on. But right now, we can just put in a trend line, which is a linear trend line. I'll show you again. Go to analytics, go to trend line, drag it up, and let's, for the time being, keep it linear, right? And this is the trend line. As the trend line is slanting upwards, we can conclude that on an overall level, we can say that as the sales increases, the profit also increases, right? So this is the case for two variable. Now let's see if there's an inclusion of third variable. How can I change this scatter plot to, which is more appropriately called as a bubble chart? Let's see it in the next video.